Welcome to problem number 4 from the H10-4 homework. The directions state find the sum of the arithmetic series described below. This problem looks a whole lot like number 3, except you'll notice there's a little bit of change in the summation notation. Okay, so let's talk about it here. This problem states, let's find the sum of the 0th term to the 19th term of that series that's formed when we use negative 23 plus 4x to find our output values. Okay, so in the previous problem there, okay, we said our a sub 1, our first term there, was, I believe, negative 19, and you can go back and check that if you want there. And we said that our 20th term there was, I believe, 57. Okay, but we're not starting with those on this one because now we're going to be talking about the 0th term, right? We're going to be talking about the 0th term and the 19th term. So we're going to have to jump back one here to get to our 0th term, and we're going to have to jump back one here to get to our 19th term. Because we're going to find the sum of the values from here to here. We're not including the 20 now, but we are including the 0. Okay, so some things to look at here. Okay, so the first term in our series that we're looking at, right? Because we said, anytime we're taking the sum, there's the three things we need to know. We need to know what's the first term in the series. Now, for this time, you notice I'm going to write just the word first term, okay, instead of the a sub 1, because we know a sub 1 is not the first term in the series. We need to know what the last term is, the a sub n, but in this case here, it looks like we still have 20 values here, right? Because we lost one on this side, but we gained one over here. So we still know that there are 20 terms, but our last term is not the 20th term, it's the 19th term. So what we're going to need to do to find our first term is we're going to need to find the a sub 0, and for our last term, it's going to be the a sub 19, which still ends up being the numbers they give you right here. So to find our 0th term, right, it looks like we're adding 4 each time here if we're talking about what our common difference was. Okay, so if we went backwards 4, it would probably be negative 23. But let's just double check it here. Let's do a sub 0 would equal negative 23 plus 4 times 0. And in that case there, it holds true. Our a sub 0 is going to be negative 23. Now, the last term in that set of numbers there is actually the 19th term, right? So if we went back 4 from 57, we would be at, what, 53 probably right here? Let's check and see if that is consistent with the math here. Let's got a sub 19 is going to equal negative 23 plus 4 times 19. Well, 19 times 4 is 76. So we have negative 23 plus 76 here. And I do believe that does give us 53. So the 19th term is 53. We already said that we have 20 terms. Now, a little trick here for you. Okay, hopefully you're watching this. You're going to be kind of an advantage because I haven't told anybody this. We didn't go through this in the notes because I didn't want to overwhelm everyone. But let's talk about the numbers of terms here, right? How do I get 20 terms from looking at 19 on the top and 0 on the bottom? Okay, when yesterday we had on the top, I think it was, problem number 3, we had a 20 on the top and we had a 1 on the bottom. Well, here's the little trick. If you just do the top number minus the bottom number and then add 1 to it, it will equal your number of terms. So when you see what I'm talking about here, if I did here, 19 minus 0, so the top number minus the bottom number, That's 19, and I add 1 to it there. That gives me 20, and we know that we have 20 terms. Same thing holds true right here. If I said 20 minus 1, that would give me 19, but then I still have to do that plus 1. And it's always just plus 1 after you do it. Top minus bottom plus 1 gives us 20 terms, which we know is what it was. And this works, for all different kinds of things. Let's say I had you finding the sum from just, I don't mean to go off on a tangent, but let's say I had you finding the sum from the 16th term, from the 5th term to the 16th term, right? I say, hey, how many terms is that? You would just do the top minus the bottom plus 1. 16 minus 5 is 11, plus 1 is 12. There would be 12 terms in something that asked you to do that there. Okay, so that's just a little bit of extra information there. Hopefully those of you that are watching this will put you at a little bit of an advantage. And then we'll teach everybody else about it next week. All right, so let's go ahead and just find the sum then. Our first term there, we said it was negative 23, so we're finding the sum of 20 terms. First term, negative 23. Last term is positive 53, and then we are going to multiply it by half the number of terms. So we're going to get 30 times 10, which is going to be 300. So the sum of those 20 values from the 0th term all the way up here to the 19th term is 300. If you have additional questions about that, please let me know. We'll talk more about the values here as we get deeper into the chapter here.